The Ezras Hashem. Today's daf is Masechta Shavuos Daf Chaf, number 20, and today we begin the new parak, and this is what the Masechta is all about. So the Mishnah begins. This is the third parak of Masechta Shavuos. Bezos Hashem, we begin Shavuos Shtayim Shein Harbe. There's two that are four. Another two are written in the Torah, and they added on a new two from Drashas Chazal. It's not so clear. Hi, Alan. We just began. Shavuos Shtayim Shein Harbe, Daf Chaf, New Testament days. Shavuos Shtayim Shein Harbe. There's two that are written in the Torah, which adds up to four which are not written in the Torah. In other words, the Chumash says, in order to be chayav a carbon oil of yared, it says a nefesh, if a human being, a Jew, swears levate b'svayim lahara, he plans to do something that's not good for him. For example, he says, "I swear I'm not going to eat for today." Or he says he's going to do something good. He says, "I swear I'm going to eat for today," and then he forgot his shvuah and he violated his oath. Then he brings the carbon oil of the yared, that we learned yesterday. We learned throughout the Masechta. So that's shtayim is in the future. Arba means the Torah only says lahora. You plan to do in the future something not good, or you plan to do something good in the future. What about the past? You swear that you ate. So that's the extra two that Chazal added on from other drashas. So the Mishnah explains, Shvuah she'oichel v'shloi oichel. If you swear you're going to eat, or shloi oichel, you swear you're not going to eat, let's say for today. That's the two in the Torah. Shachalti, you swore you ate. V'shloi achalti, you swear you didn't eat. So that's in the past tense. So that's also the four. That adds up to four types of shvuahs that you get a mechayev a carbon oil of yared. Now the Mishnah says, Shvuah shloi oichel. A man swears, he makes an oath, he's not going to eat. V'achal kolshu, and he ate just a little crumb. So now, all over Torah, where the Torah says you're not supposed to eat something, the shear is kazayas. And here, he ate a drop. So chayiv, you're liable for the carbon oil of yared to Rabbi Kiva, because this is the words of Rabbi Kiva. Amr loyla Rabbi Kiva. So they said to Rabbi Kiva, Heichem etzinu ba'oichel kol shu chayiv. Where do we see in the Torah that eating just a drop under a kazayas shezech that you're going to be liable? Shezech chayiv. That in the case of violating your own personal oath, you're going to also be liable with under a kazayas. That doesn't make sense. Amr lehem Rabbi Akiva. So Rabbi Akiva says yes. Where do we find that because you violated your oath, your words, you have to bring a carbon? So since the whole concept of oath is violating your words, so you swore, you made an oath you're not going to eat, so it has nothing to do with a shear. It has to do with eating. And if you eat even a drop, so therefore you spoke, and therefore that you violated your oath, you're going to have to bring a carbon. So even if it's less than a kazayis. The Mishnah said that if you're going to eat, remember you want to say that when you say shvuah she'oichel, I swear I'm going to eat, means you will eat, right? That's simple. Is that always what it means? Raminhu. I'll ask you a contradiction from our Mishnah. Mishnah says examples of what is a shvuah that you're not going to eat. So the one example is shvuah lo oichelecha. He says shvuah, I'm not going to eat by you. Okay, so that's one type of oath. Then he says shvuah she'oichelecha. He says whatever I'm going to eat from you should be also to me like a shvuah, as if I made a shvuah. So basically, that's considered like you made an oath not to eat. Lo shvuah shloi oichelach. And he says it shouldn't be an issa a shvuah what I'm not going to eat from you. So we go the other way. What I do eat from you will be also to me with a shvuah. But the bottom line is shvuah she'oichelach. The second case in the Mishnah says that shvuah she'oichelach means you're not going to eat. And our Mishnah says shvuah she'oichel means you're going to eat. Amar Abaya simply explained that it depends on the context. Normally, when you say shvuah she'oichel lo'imad achilna mashma, it means you're going to eat. That's the normal context of you swearing you're going to eat. But like kasha, but it's not difficult. Kan b'misarvim by melechel. In that Mishnah, they are pressuring somebody to eat. Kan in our Mishnah is b'she'ein we go to the top of Amud Aleph. They're not pressuring him to eat. So again, Mas Nisem, our personal Mishnah over here, no one's forcing him to eat. He just blurted out of his mouth with nobody around him, Shvua she'oichel. I swear I'm going to eat today. Fine. So that means you're going to eat. Brisa, and actually that's a Mishnah, that the other place was they're pressuring him to eat. And he's telling people, don't pressure me to eat. I'm not eating. So therefore, then they pressured him again. So then he said, Shvua she'oichelach. So when he said that, when he's swearing that, this is what he meant to say. Shvua she'lo oichel. He's swearing that he's not going to eat, or basically saying, whatever I'm going to eat, I'm already also on a shvua. So the context forced us to say that when he said Shvua she'oichel, means he swears he's not going to eat. So that's one way to resolve the contradiction. Rav Ashi says, Tni, you have to change that other Mishnah. Instead of saying he swears she'oichel lecha, he swears he's going to eat, Tni, you have to use change the Mishnah as if it said Shvua she'i oichel lecha. He said Shvua, and here is the E. E is an unusual use of the word. I'm not going to, like efshar. I'm not. It's impossible. So here he changed it. So by saying she'i oichelach, he's saying I'm not going to eat by you. So the Gemara says, what's the novelty of the Chiddush of the Brisa? He said, Shvu, I'm not going to eat. Ma'u desema, people don't use the word she'i. Lishna de eskilele, maybe he got stuttered. Maybe he was stuttering and the E came out of his mouth accidentally. Kamash Malon, no, we interpret it as if he meant it, that he's not going to eat. And we're talking about a case where a guy forgot what he was thinking about. He doesn't remember what he meant, because he could always ask him, what did you mean? No or yes. But the truth is that if he said, I swear, like whatever you're going to decide what I meant, that's what I'll do. Or he totally forgot what he meant. So therefore, we have to understand when he says she'i, does he mean no? Or perhaps it was just a slip of the tongue. Tana Rabbanan, New Gemara, mifta. We learned this word mifta. Now, everybody knows, Shvua she'oichel lecha. Okay, I swear I'm going to eat. Or Shvua she'lo oichel. I swear I'm not going to eat. That makes sense. What happens if a person says miftar, the word miftar, which is like a shvua, it's like another synonym for the word shvua. He says, mifta kikar zu alai. This loaf of bread should be also to me like a mifta. So that basically he's saying, I swear I'm not going to eat. And therefore, shvua, that's like a shvua. And if he does eat it, he's chayiv a carbon oil of yared. Isar, if he says the word isar, like isar kikuzer alai, so then that's also shvua. It's as if he said, shvua, I'm not going to eat this loaf. So then the Brisa says something cryptic, which needs explanation. Isuri isar, when someone says the word isar, what does he mean? So the Brisa says, Im ata oime isar shvua, if you think that the word isar means a shvua, then chayiv. Then it's as if he made a shvua and he's chayiv a carbon oil of yared. Vim lav, if you think the word isar means a neder, then potter, you're not liable shvua, it's a neder. Again, the difference between a neder and a shvua is not only in a carbon, where if you violate the shvua, you bring a carbon, oil of yared, and if you violate a neder, you don't bring any carbon, but it's also the mechanism of action. A shvua is on the person himself. The isser is on the person not to do something. A neder is on the item itself. The item becomes usher. So now the Gemara says, but the Gemara, this Brisa seems to waive what the word isser means. Im ata oime isser shvua. What does Brisa mean? Do you think isser is a shvua? But Amrit, didn't you just say isser shvuhi? You told me that the word isser is a shvua. So how does the Brisa go back and forth? Amar Abaya says hachi kama. This is what the Brisa means. Mifta. If you say the word mifta kikazu alai shvua, that's like as if you said a shvua. But isser is mitvas b'shvua. You're associating something in something that has a shvua. So if you would say, for example, by saying isser kikar zu alai, it's as if you're saying that this piece of bread should be also to me like that other piece of bread that I made a shvua on. Just like that piece of bread I have a shvuah on. So iser kikar zu alai means that it's by association to another thing that you made shvuah. So I'm not actually making a shvuah on the present piece of bread in front of me. I'm associating this piece of prohibition that I have on another piece of bread should apply on this piece of bread that's in front of me. So now, so that's what the Gemara says. It's an association of a shvuah, but it's not actually like you made a shvuah. So then it depends. Isuri Isra, so then what are you asr? What becomes? If you want to say that an association to a something that's prohibited by oath is as if you explicitly made a new shvuah on the item in front of you, then chayiv, then you chayiv a carbon oil there because that's this piece of bread becomes us you with a regular shvuah. Vim lav, if not, then potter. It's not a shvuah. Maybe you're going to still be asked to eat the bread in front of you, but it's not going to be with the strength of a shvuah that you can chayiv a carbon if you eat it. So now, umamai. So the Gemara just now wants to understand. How do you know the word mifta means a shvuah? How do you know the word? I thought shvuah means an oath, but why does the word mifta come to a shvuah? Umamai de mifta shvuahu. How do you know the word mifta means a shvuah? Because the pasuk says oy nefesh, or a person kishi shaveh levate bisvasayim, and levate means that you're going to swear. So that means so that if you're going to bring a raya from a pasuk isnami diksiv, then you can bring a raya from a pasuk diksiv kol neder v'chol shvuas isar, that the word isar is next to the word shvuah, so the word isar is automatically a shvuah. The same way you're saying the word levate means a shvuah because it's next to the word shvuah, so the word isar should also be considered a shvuah because it's next to the word shvuah. Ella, so the Gemara says like this: how do you know that the word isar is an association of a shvuah, but it's not actually like you made a shvuah? Because the pasuk says, you associated an isar to something else that has a shvuah. So that's how you know that the word isar is an association. It's a mitvas b'shvuah. So then by that logic, mifta nami haksiv, the word mifta, it says the same idea. L'chol asher yivate ha'adam b'shvuah. Anytime person uses the word bitoy, it's an association to something that has a shvuah. So again, we need how to define the languages here. Mifta is a shvuah, and isar is an association of shvuah. Elam Abai, you have a pasuk like this. Mifta shvuah mahacha. Mifta is a shvuah from this pasuk. So there, mifta svaseh, the Torah says either a person made a neder or a mifta svaseh. So what's the opposite of a neder? The other twin of a neder is a shvuah. And the Torah didn't use the word shvuah, because by using the word mifta, that already implies the word shvuah. But my asra nafsha b'mifta, you ask yourself mifta. So the word mifta is a shvuah. The word shvuah is a shvuah. But isar, the word isar is not really a shvuah. It's basically you're saying it's an association to something that you already took a shvuah on. That is the opinion of Abaye understanding. Rava says like this: La'oila eimalach mitzvahs b'shvuah lav k'moitzi shvuah mepib dami. La'ilma will tell you that association of a shvuah is not like as if you said a shvuah from your mouth. So if someone actually say, "Here's a piece of bread. I want this piece of bread to be also to me like I made a shvuah on another piece of bread," that has no effect at all. According to Rava, it's nothing. So then what does the word isar mean? So how does Rava explain this brayso? Mifta shvuah. The word mifta is a shvuah. Isar, name shvuah. The word isar kikar lai is as if you said shvuah kikar lai. Shvuah, I'm not gonna eat this loaf of bread. The word isar is the word shvuah, but it's not always the word shvuah. As sorry the isar, where do we find the Chumash giving a prohibition on the word isar? Is because the Torah put it on the fences between the word neder and shvuah. Isar is like an in-between type of word. If you expressed it like a neder, for example, isar kikar zeralai, the kikar should have an isar. The item itself should be also with an isar. So then it's a neder. That's a neder. But if you say isar shaloi oichel kikar zu, So then that's a shvua. You're using it in the way a shvua is being used. Now, where did the pasuk put the word iser in between shvua and in between neder? That it's like this, this ambidextrous type of word. The answer is v'meis isha nodara. If you make a neder, oy asra isra, we don't know what that is. Am nafsha b'shvua. So it gives you three choices: shvua, neder in the beginning of the pasuk, and asra isra could be somewhere in between. So va'azil l'tamayu. This machlekes between Abai and Rava is they're aligned themselves with their previous reasonings. The Idmar, we learned matvis b'shvua. If someone associates in a shvua, in other words, someone says this loaf of bread should be also to me like a shvua I made on a different loaf of bread. Abaya ama kabayt shvua mipivdami. It's as if you made now a new shvua. It's as if you didn't make a new shvua. It has no effect whatsoever. It's not even worth anything. You're permitted to eat that bread in front of you. So, because a Rava doesn't hold of any hatvasa. Either you say it or you don't say it. Abaya says, since by neder you could associate, Abaya is going to say, since by neder you can associate, by shvu it also works. So now the Gemara asks, Meisvei, what is the use of the word iser? The Brisa says, someone says, a person says, I'm not going to eat meat, I'm not going to eat wine, like the day that I made a neder when my father died. But my father died, I made a neder, I'm never going to eat that day. So today, I'm making a neder that it should have the same iser on me, not to eat meat and not to drink wine. Or kiyam shemeis by ploini, like the day that so and so died. Or kiyam shner boy Gedalia ben Achikam, like the day that Dalia ben Achikam died. Kiyam shor Yerushalayim bechubana. All these days, the days that he saw Yerushalayim destroyed in its destruction. All these days, when a person sees such a shocking event, he makes a neder. I'm not going to eat that day. So a person says, I'm making a neder now. I'm not making a neder. He says meat should be also to me like that day. Well, that day you made a neder not to eat, so it's as if you said you're not going to make a neder. You made a neder not to eat meat, so also you're not allowed to eat meat. That you actually made a neder that the day that your father died, you always make a neder on the yard site. You're not going to eat anything. So Bishlam Abaya. So this Brisa talks about association, and mid the matris beneder neder. Since the association of a neder makes a neder. Matvis b'shvua shvua. An association of shvua should also make a shvua. So that's a question. Baya, this Brisa makes perfect sense. We go to Amebez. Ella, l'Rava kasha. L'Rava, this Brisa is totally difficult. The Rava doesn't hold of atfasa. Either you say shvua I'm not going to eat, or this thing is also to me in a neder, but an association to something else doesn't give you any prohibition. It doesn't give you any. It's not effective. So how does Rava explain this Brisa? Rava will explain. It never works. Hatfasa doesn't work by neder or by shvua. But tritzvei mahachi. This is the way you read the Brisa corrected. Ezu neder amabatara. This is cross this word. Ezu neder amabatara. What is a neder that's written in the Torah? What is a neder? When a person says that this loaf of bread should be also to me like a carbon, you have to say that it's also to me like a carbon. So Hare Olai he says, I'm not going to eat meat or drink wine, and it should have the effect, it should be also to me, that like the day that my father died, just like I put a neder on that day. So a neder, I'm making now a neder, so he's actually verbalizing a neder for not to eat meat and drink wine. Or the day that I saw so-and-so get killed. Shmuel said that he had to have a neder existing on that day. My Tama, what is a neder? Why can't they just say, this loaf of bread is also to me? That's not a neder. Because the pasuk says, Ish ki yidur neder Hashem. When you make a promise to Hashem, what does it say? Yidur neder. The Torah doesn't say yidur Hashem. You have to make the neder like something, not an association, but the neder is like that thing that's already has a neder on it. So you say this kikar, this loaf of bread, should be also to me like a carbon. That is what a neder is about. So that's what the Rav is explaining, that this price is simply explaining what a neder is, but it's not a matvis b'shvua. You're not saying like this should be like that, but basically you're saying this is also to me, and I'm saying it should be also to me with the same way that the carbon is also to me, or the same way that I'm not allowed to eat meat on the day my father died. I mean, you made a neder that day, so of course that makes an effective day. And if what's the chiddush of that part of the brisa? Answers the Gemara that the brisa is teaching you that davar hanoder is also something like saying ki yom shenereg boy gedalia ben achikam. A person's always also to eat on some gedalia. So when you make a neder that I'm not allowed to eat meat, like I'm not allowed to eat on some gedalia. Some gedalia, you didn't make a neder to eat on some gedalia. The Rabbanan told you you're not allowed to eat on some gedalia. So I might think that the neder is not a take effect. It's not a good association with something that's davar another. Kamash Milan, it is. Kamash Milan, it is. It's exactly what Rabbi said. Isser could mean the word shvua. Isser is not an association of a shvua. Isser, the word Isser itself, is a word of shvua. Now the Gemara goes on one more thing, a new Gemara. He also Rav Dimi Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rav Dimi came from Eretz Yisrael. He said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, what happens? You make a shvua, I'm going to eat, or shvua, I'm not going to eat. So what kind of, and if you violate the shvua, what violation did you do? What isser in the Torah did you? So that's the violation called sheker. And when the warning in the Torah says, don't swear my name, and to make it false, by you saying, I swear I'm not going to eat, and then you go eat, so then you're making what you said false. So if someone was to warn you, don't eat because you're going to be over the lav, he should say you're going to be over the lav of Leishavi Bishmi La Shaka. What happens? The guy swears, "Ochalti v'lo yachalti." I swear I ate or didn't eat, and then we turned out that he actually did eat or didn't eat. He didn't say the correct thing. He wasn't honest. Shav. That's called swearing in vain because it's already a known fact if you ate or you didn't eat. So you're just saying a shvua in vain. You have to warn him. Don't say it because if you make a shvua like that in the past tense. That is, you're going to be over the lav of l'sisa shem elokecha l'shav. Don't carry the name of God in vain. Koinamos. Now, this is opposed to there's a shita that we're going to learn that Ravin is going to say that the swearing in the future tense is from this pasuk, but we're going to have another. Koinamus and Isser Neder is over b'lo yachal devarei. You get the avera of lo yachal devarei. Don't violate and don't profane your words. So that neder is lo yachal devarei. But some say, but the way Rav Dimi said it, the future tense is lo shavim b'shmi la shakar. Past tense is lo sisa Hashem elokecha lashav. Meisvei, so comes along. Let me ask you a question. Shav v'sheker echad. The Brisa says shav v'sheker, shvua shav and shvua sheker are just one of the same. My love, b'deshav l'shavar, av sheker nami l'shavar. Since shav l'shav v'shmi l'shav is shvua in the past tense, av sheker nami l'shavar. The l'shav v'shmi l'shakar is referring to a past tense shvua, not a future tense shvua. A future tense shvua is l'yachal devarei. A past tense shvua, you're going to be over l'shav, l'sisham l'shav, l'shavi v'shil l'shakav. This brisa seems to say that they're one of the same. So the Gemara says, "Miri area alma chalti v'loichalti shekerhu." The past tense is sheker, not in the future tense is l'shavi v'shvi l'shaka. So the Gemara says, "Miri area hakadisa." They're both different. Shav l'sisham l'shav is a past tense shvua. L'shavi v'shmi l'shaka is a future tense shvua. So then what does the Brisa mean? My davar echad, they're one of the same. That the pasuk of when God gave the words of Leisav v'shmi l'shakar and Leisisa Shem Elokecha l'shav, it came out like at one breath, so to speak, in God. Those two letters, those two isurim came out of God's mouth by Aseres Adibros in one shot. Kiditanya, like we learned in the Brisa. Zachar v'shama b'dibra echamecha. Zachar, it says Zachar Yom Shabbos l'katshay in the first Aseres Dibros. It says Shama Shabbos l'katshay in the second Dibros. B'dibra echamemru. It was said by as if it said one expression of God. A human can't speak this way, and an ear can't hear it. So when we were at Har Sinai, we heard Zachar v'Shama in our ear at one shot, and we also heard L'Savi L'Shi L'Shaka L'Sishem L'Kech L'Shav in one shot. So the Gemara asks the final question. The reason why Shabbos had to be written in words because to teach you what Rav Ada bar Ahava taught. Rav Ada bar Ahava, Noshim chayavos b'kiddush yom dvar Torah. A woman has to hear kiddush on Friday night. Damakrav, the pasuk says Zochar v'Shamar b'dibar echad. The Torah told you this in one expression. Kol sheyeshna b'shnira, whoever has to keep the Shabbos, not violate the 39 malachos, yeshna b'schira, he has to make kiddush. Hani nashi, since women hoyel isnai b'shmira, since they have to keep the 39 malachos, isnai namai b'schira, they also have to make kiddush. Ella, so that's the reason why Zachar v'Shama was written in b'dibar echad. Ella hachal mai hilchas b'bayalei. What's the reason why the Torah put l'shav v'shmir l'shakar and l'shishem l'kech l'shav? So the Gemara says, Ella kashem shaloika alashav kach loika rame alasheker. Just like you loika on the shav, you're going to get malchus on shvuas sheker. So just like you loika on shav because you did an avera, you said you did not eat and you turned out you did eat, so you did a lav sheyesh by maisa. So wait a second. The Gemara says klapi liar. What are you talking about? You should say the opposite. Because sheker is a lav sheyem ma'isa. If you say swear I'm not going to eat, and then you eat, then you're over yeshua with a ma'isa. Sure, you get malchus. Achalti v'lo achalti means you're doing the lav now, and you didn't do an action. Ella, Amy, you have to read it, and this will end over here. Shein shaloika al hasheker. Just like you know for a fact that you get malchus on sheker because it's a lav sheyesh by ma'isa. You swore you're not going to eat, and you go and you ate, so you violated the lav. Kach loike nami al shav. So you also get malchus on the shav v'shmi la shakar, even though there is a lav she'ein by ma'isa. So that's what the brisa means to say. Okay, we'll stop over here and we'll continue Be'ez Hashem tomorrow.